everyone. We started Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We start today this activity, which is an exciting subject about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is already in many functions on the market, but we have some questions to this technology, which is actually invading every part of our lives, not only radiation oncology. So is it a blessing? Is it a problem? Is it a servant? Or is it an enemy? Is it going to replace us? Is it going to make us lazy and we start missing things? So today we have a distinguished speaker, Dr. Hamza Al-Ghamdi, who will tell us about this technology in our field. And Dr. Hamza had his medical degree from King Khalid University in Abha and had his residency in radiation oncology from France, and has 2 fellowships in neuro-oncology and in thoracic and oligomets from Belgium. He's currently a consultant radiation oncologist in King Khalid University Medical City in Abha. So without further ado, the podium is yours, Dr. Hamza.
Thank you, Dr. Majid, and thank you. Thanks to everyone in Saru for the organization of this meeting. It's a pleasure and an honor to be with you today. And I will talk today about the artificial intelligence in the daily practice of radiation therapy. And to start, I have to say that this presentation might contain some showcase of some available solutions in the market. It's not an advertisement or an endorsement of any particular product, and I have no conflict of interest to declare any relevant conflict of interest. I will go through some of introduction and historical perspective, and then to go through some of the applications of AI in radiation oncology field. And to start, I have to mention that the evolution of the radiotherapy has always benefited from the evolution of other fields in the science in general. So from physics, from the discovery of radioactivity, and from the discovery of X-rays by Röntgen and Becquerel, to then the application of that field, of that phenomenon in medicine, to what we see now, where we treat more than 50% of cancer patients with ionizing radiation. And this is from physics. From mechanics, we saw how the manufacturing of linear accelerator and of radiotherapy machines has benefited from the advancements in the mechanics. Until now, we see some of the machines that are very sophisticated mechanically. I put here an image of the particle accelerator in Heidelberg, Germany. This huge structure of machine that has a millimetric accuracy at the isocenter. And we saw how the CyberKnife machine has been inspired by the robotics in the production line of other manufacturing industry. We saw it also in the computer science and the statistics, how the advancements in the GPU acceleration, for example, that was translated from the 3D rendering and from game development to our treatment planning systems. We saw it also from Monte Carlo simulation that we use nowadays in our calculation algorithms. We saw it also from the material science and 3D printing, which is translated now to 3D boluses that we customize, print it, and to the immobilization devices and the treatment couches and all of that. So artificial intelligence has entered this era of development of radiation of artificial intelligence, and it will have in consequence an impact, a significant impact on the field of radiation therapy. We saw the advancement recently of the AI in many fields of AI, and AI is really a broad term that includes computer vision, machine learning, deep learning, recently large language models and generative AI, big data and blockchain. And all of these small fields of the AI will have their impact on radiation therapy field. We already saw it. We already saw that there was a hike in the published research in the field of radiation therapy and AI. And this will continue also to grow. And it doesn't include only one part of radiation therapy practice, but all of the spectrum of radiation therapy practice. But what we saw is that the research was really concentrated on 3 or 4 disciplines, which is outcome prediction, image segmentation, treatment planning, and synthetic image generation. So these are the 4 areas that benefited most from the research in the field of AI in relation to radiotherapy. And people who work in the field of radiation therapy usually have this openness and open-minded approach to all of related science, including AI. Now, the questionnaires that were acquired from radiation oncologists and from medical physicists and RTTs say that most of them are looking into AI as a beneficial tool that will have a positive impact, and that they are willing to try it, and that they are willing also to learn about it and to study it. So the AI in radiation therapy, we can divide it broadly into 2 categories, into the preclinical part and into the clinical part. The preclinical part is not the topic of today, but in that area, in the preclinical part, we saw a spike that has a little bit subsided because of many things, but we saw a spike in the use of radiomics, in the modeling of TCP and NTCPs using artificial intelligence. Of course, after that came many studies that either contradicted or put in question the published studies before. So the enthusiasm in this area has subsided a little bit, but there is still ongoing effort in that area, especially in the modeling of the tumor control and in the modeling of normal tissue toxicity. In the clinical part, this concerns the daily practice of radiation therapy. And if we look into the workflow of radiation therapy, we can see that AI can be integrated into each step of the process, from diagnosis and treatment decision to the simulation, where we have image synthesis, secondary image registration and reconstruction. In the contouring part, where we have automatic segmentation. In the plan optimization, where we have multiple methods like knowledge-based planning, multi-criteria optimization, automated planning. And then in the treatment and delivery part, where we have AI also could be integrated into image synthesis, replanning, online adaptive radiotherapy, and in the follow-up of the patients, where we have outcome prediction and toxicity prediction using AI. And to talk about the history of the AI in radiation therapy, really the most significant milestone in that was around 2015, with the integration of deep learning into the field of medicine and medical imaging in general. The deep learning methods exist since very long time, about 100 years, the first concept of perceptron. But then in around 2011, there was a competition that talks about classification of images on the internet. And in that competition, the winner has proposed deep learning solution that's called ResNet, a very popular neural network, to classify images. And from that moment, the use of deep learning with images in general has really progressed significantly. In 2015, there was a paper published by a group of researchers in Freiburg in Germany, and they proposed an adapted model of ResNet that's called UNet. UNet because of the shape of the neural network, to use it in the medical imaging. So it's a simple yet very intelligent solution, where you have encoder part and decoder part. The encoder part consists of multiple layers of convolutional neural network. So it's a neural network that uses convolution between each layer. So it goes multiple layer of convolution, and then pooling, and down max pooling, and then etc. And then pass all the results to the decoder part. And after that, going to prediction of outcome, for example, prediction of classification of images like malignant or benign, or classification of a voxel, for example, is it pathological or not pathological, or classification of a voxel of image, for example, does it belong to a certain organ or certain structure. So the application of this unit is very versatile, and most of the research that we see in the field of radiation oncology is really derived from this approach and from this particular neural network. And because it's very simple and very intuitive method, it was adopted by many vendors and many companies that were built also on the idea of providing these solutions. And one important area was the AI-assisted organs at risk segmentation. Right now, we have multiple solutions in the market. Some of them are implemented on premises and some are implemented on the cloud. And they provide relatively a similar approach and also similar outcome in terms of results. We also have non-commercial solutions. As I said, because it's a simple method, everyone can adapt it and implement it. And here I will cite two examples that any one of you can install 3D slicer on his computer and try any one of them. One is called Total Segmenter, and the other one is called MonAI. And although these solutions are not intended for radiotherapy, but they provide a very robust segmentation solution, and you can really witness how beautiful and performant these solutions. We talk about segmenting every single vertebra, segmenting every chamber of the heart, and every bowel loop. And it does that very fast on any computer. You don't need a sophisticated machine to do that. The performance of the commercial models are relatively similar. There is no big difference between them. But here you can see, for example, the gain that we have when we implement such a solution in the daily practice. For example, in the head and neck, the average time a radiation oncologist or an RTT spent to delineate 19 structures is about 97 minutes, while an AI solution can do 30 structures in only 4 minutes. In lung, for example, from 26 minutes, you reduce that to less than 1 minute. That 1 minute including also correction of the contours. So in terms of time, the gain of time that with these solutions, it's very, very good. But not only the time, the benefit also goes to the accuracy. And usually we say that an AI solution could really compete with an average radiation oncologist or someone who just enters into the training in radiation oncology. One benefit of such solution is the adaptability, because you can use what's called knowledge transfer. So you can use an existing model and train it on a new data. You introduce your own data and you retrain the model that exists. You can also integrate other modalities like other images, other techniques into the AI model. The efficiency, we talked about that, and then the consistency, both the consistency between people, for example, in the same department, or between radiation oncologists, or consistency, longitudinal consistency with the person himself. The AI solution doesn't change in terms of performance. So the organs at risk delineation, automated delineation, is really a very good solution and something that could be implemented very easily. But what about the target volume delineation? This is a more sophisticated and more difficult part. Why is that? Because really we are not delineating based on a single modality or based on a single on a single study. We usually obtain the data to delineate the target volumes from history, clinical examination, from images sometimes, from histopathological evaluation, from multi-modal imaging, from PET scans, MRIs, etc., and also from other exams like endoscopies and bronchoscopies, etc. So it's very difficult to gather all of these to obtain a target, automated target volume delineation. In the solutions that I mentioned before, there are some solutions that propose, for example, delineation of lymph node groups, but it's not really a definition of the target volume. But this is an ongoing area of research, and I think in the future we will see more and more solution that comes along the way. Here I put an example of one of the ongoing research in the University of Paris, where they take the histopathological samples, they auto-segment them to define where are the areas of malignancy, and then project that and map that area to preoperative CT scans. And the idea is that we can train a model that predicts that can predict the malignancy on a CT scan. So this is a very intuitive and very intelligent approach to this. And in the near future, I think we will see more and more approaches like that to target the definition of the targeted volume. The other part, other than the contouring part, is the synthetic imaging, the synthesis of images by using AI. And the idea of that is that we start with the CBCT or with an MRI, and then to run an AI model that will generate a synthetic CT, which we can use to do our planning and to optimize our plan, and then to deliver the treatment. The MRI, the synthetic CT MRI can be used in MR only workflow, and this is the benefit of that is that it will provide superior MRI provides superior soft tissue contrast. By using only MR workflow, we reduce the systematic registration or fusion errors that might happen. And also because we eliminate the part where we do a CT scan, we eliminate redundancy. Not all of patients will require CT scan and MRI, and also reduce the ionizing radiation from simulation CT scans. In the market now, we have 4 solutions. All of them provide brain and pelvis MR-only workflow. Some of them provide head and neck solution also. But what about the CBCT? The CBCT, we have 2 products in the market. One of them by Therapansia, but only for prostate, and Varian with its ethos system, which we will elaborate more on that. But the benefit of having a synthetic CT based on a CBCT is to do online adaptive radiotherapy. Last year we had this competition, it was it was started in the Netherlands, and the idea of it of that competition was to provide about 1,080 pelvis and brain cancer patients, both CBCTs and MRIs, and the competition was to generate synthetic CTs based on those studies. And this competition has gained a huge popularity. Right now, the participants are more than 1,000 participation, and the approaches and the methods that were used were very impressive, actually. And because of this competition, I think in the near future we will see an explosion of the approaches in the synthetic image generation, thanks to this competition. And this will be democratized, such similar to what we see with open source solutions in the automatic delineation. As I said, the interest of having a synthetic CT based on a CBCT is to be used in online adaptive radiotherapy. And the idea is to do the daily image guidance, use that image and fuse it or co-register it with the initial imaging, and then do using AI also to do automated segmentation, and then for the clinician to decide either to deliver the initial plan or to do replanning on the table on the site. So the replanning will take place, and then it will be checked by the radiation oncologist and medical physicist. And if everything is good, we can proceed to deliver the plan of the day. What's the benefit of online adaptive radiotherapy? There are many benefits. Increased precision and accuracy, because we see every day what we are going to treat. Enhanced treatment effectiveness by allowing dose escalation, because theoretically we can reduce the dose to the organs at risk, and hence we can have margin to escalate our doses. To provide a personalized medicine based on the anatomy of the day, to have better management of tumor motion, and also to allow for less margins, because we reduce the internal target volume. So we can have reduced PTVs and reduced PRVs. Right now in the market, we have Ethos system that uses the same thing. It uses CBCT images that then are reconstructed using AI algorithms, and after that, recontouring or re-segmentation of images using AI, and then delivery of the plan of the day. In the Astro of this year, Elekta has announced their own solution, which is called EVO. And their approach is a little bit different. They had a collaboration with MIM Software, and MIM, they have their own AI segmentation solution called I forgot the name. But the idea is to have a CBCT that is then reconstructed using in-house developed AI solution that Elekta has developed with one of the researchers, and then to send those images to MEME for fusion with the initial images. And with Protege AI, they generate new contours, and then they send it to Monaco for planning, and then to send back to the machine for delivery. This solution we will still we still have to see it in the practice how it's going to perform, because adding other layers on top of what we have before can add a little bit of complexity, and it might opens the door for errors in the process. What about MR guided radiotherapy? It's not really relying too much on the AI, because we have the MR images, which are very good in quality. We don't need to reconstruct them or to do anything about them. And then the part related to the fusion and to the contouring, none of the manufacturers who produce MR Linux nowadays use any AI solution in their systems. They use the old methods with deformable registration and then propagation of the deformed structures only. Ethos, on the other hand, it uses both synthetic image reconstruction and AI-assisted recontouring, and both of them are very good. You can see here, for example, in one of the studies, recontouring the prostate, you really don't need to modify so much of the structures. The blue part is the blue bar here represent where we do not change anything in the contours. The orange part where we have only minor edits in the contouring. So the AI solution that they propose is very good, except for maybe the sigmoid colon. But for the other structures, it's either you accept the contour or you modify it very, very slightly. But this comes at a cost. The online adaptive radiotherapy, it's not an easy solution, because you need more personnel and more personnel engagement. The radiation oncologists, for example, in the classical scenario, will be involved in the contouring, plan review, and plan approval, and then occasionally during the treatment for online or offline image review, and that's it. In the adaptive radiotherapy, on the other hand, the radiation oncologist is needed in the segmentation and planning, and then daily on the machine for decision of the treatment, recontouring, replanning, and reapproval, and also sometimes offline also. Medical physicists also, they are needed in all of the steps of the treatment delivery. So there is human resource cost of the online adaptive radiotherapy, and there is also time cost, because you increase the time needed to deliver the treatment. So instead of the session taking only 10 minutes, you increase that in average by 15 minutes of time just to do the adaptation and to change the plan daily. One important cost also is the cost of the machines, because what we see nowadays, the existing solution, it's to do the online adaptive radiotherapy, you need to buy a different machine dedicated for that, even if it's technically the same machine, but only with the software added, but you still have to pay the full cost of a new machine, and it's very, very costly. One of the solutions that is going to appear in the market is by the third-party treatment planning system vendors. This is one example. It's a Chinese company that's called Mantia that provide a treatment planning system that can do online adaptive radiotherapy. So they have their own algorithms that will generate CT scans from CBCTs, and then they have their own deformation and AI-assisted contouring. The promise of that solution is that you can use that treatment planning system with any existing machine that you have in the department, and you can do online adaptive radiotherapy with that machine. There are some rumors also that other big vendor of treatment planning system is working also on a similar solution also, and we might see that in the near future. The problem with Mantia is that they do not yet have the FDA and CE mark, but I think they are in the final phases to acquire that. And if they do so, they will open really the door to implement online adaptive radiotherapy for any department without the need to buy or acquire a new machine. So the future directions in the use of AI in radiation therapy is that it will continue to expand, and the new solutions will be proposed also. Routine tasks in the radiation oncology, such as delineation, will become mainstream. And I think with democratization of these solutions and with availability of more and more open source solutions, it will be integrated eventually into the treatment planning system, and it will be taken for granted for everyone. Online adaptive radiotherapy, on the other hand, will gain popularity, but not much, especially with introduction of new treatment planning systems that can do online adaptive radiotherapy without need for new hardware, and but also because the clinical benefit of online adaptive radiotherapy is not yet established. The data that we have now about the benefit of such approach come from the MR-guided radiotherapy, and we do not really have a dramatic change when we use the online adaptive radiotherapy in terms of toxicity, although it goes for the idea that it will provide less toxic treatment to the patient, but this is an area that is still under examination. One complexity that will be added because of the use of AI is the regulatory complexity, because nowadays the commissioning of such solution in the clinical practice will be subject to some regulation, and also the introduction of new solutions will be subjected to those regulations. And also one of the challenges is the training and the implementation of those solutions by the medical personnel in radiotherapy. I think nowadays and in the future, AI-related skills have to be essential skills in the arsenal of radiation oncologists, medical physicists, and RTTs. And this has to be reflected also in the training programs and in the curriculum moving forward to be future proof in the future, especially with the quick and rapid advancement in that area. And with that, I conclude my presentation. Thank you very much, and we will open the space for any discussion or any question. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hamza, for an exciting talk. Now, what I could gather from what was discussed, I mean, artificial intelligence is a huge subject, and it's really difficult to be comprehensive in a brief talk. But you mentioned certain areas of interest, like in simulation for the CT, we can convert the CBCT into a planning CT. We also, for the MRI, that some people have only MRI simulator, and they can develop a synthetic CT from the MRI using artificial intelligence. Also, in the contouring, which is tedious and takes a lot of time, you mentioned about the auto contouring, and that's mostly used for organs at risk, with some studies now dabbling with the CTV and GTV, etc. Also, you mentioned, you talked about the adaptive contouring, which is when, body changes during the treatment and the deformation and contour propagation. These are all exciting aspects, and I would love to see if anyone has any question from the audience. They are welcome to chime in. But I will start with one question till people gather their thoughts. Dr. Hamza,
Yes.
where are we in artificial intelligence? Are we crawling? Are we walking? Are we flying? The question is because it seems that, from what I see, there will be a legal liability. Ultimately, the physician is responsible for whatever happens to the patient. And I hope that people don't get so dependent on technology that they forget that they are also ultimately responsible, especially if the technology is at its beginnings. What do you think?
Yeah, I think in any scientific development, it usually goes in phases. In the beginning, really the pace of development will be shooting high, and then there will be a moment where we start to question what we are doing, usually associated with decline, and then these development will regain again the momentum, and it will reach a steady increase, but then we'll reach a plateau. So I think now in some parts of the AI, we are in the initial phase. In some parts, we are in the decline where we start to question what we are doing and what are we. And in some parts, we are already mature and we are already developed, and the pace is going slowly but steadily, like in the parts related to the online adaptive radiotherapy.
Okay, we have a question from Dr. Yasser Bahadur, Professor Yasser Bahadur. تفضل.
Yes, السلام عليكم. Thank you, Majid. شكرا دكتور
والسلام.
حمزة. الصراحة very comprehensive review. We really يعني you highlighted الصراحة كان very educational your presentation. It seems we are one of the very lucky specialties that AI will help us a lot. And it's going to speed up the work, even if that you mentioned it's like routine things like contouring organ at risk and all this. I think it's very time consuming for I wonder is any of the colleagues here they used it and they and how happy, how accurate they are, يعني, the accuracy of the contouring, and are they happy, or still we're talking about few research center and you mentioned, I mean, a wide range of basic things and things in the future, but currently like in most of the centers, which of the applications that becoming almost like a routine now in the clinical practice?
I think all of them, all of the solutions that I mentioned can be really implemented in clinical practice. We had bad experience before with atlas-based segmentation, because for a while it was proposed as the ultimate solution for contouring of organs at risk, but it was very, very bad in performance. The solution that we have right now has nothing to do with atlas-based or with the previous methods of contouring like gradient-based or the solutions are very good, and in the centers where it's implemented, really more than 80% of the cases are contoured using those solutions. So when it's available in the practice in the center, it's really utilized very well, and the results that are provided are very, very excellent. You will still need modification of certain structures, especially when there are some variation in the anatomy. But more than 90% of the structure, you really don't need except minor modification of the contours.
May I comment, Dr. Majid?
Yes.
Please.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Hamza. It's truly a very excellent presentation and thoughtful presentation. We've been, Prof. Bahadur, approached by several of these companies in King Faisal to launch their product at our department. However, there is still unclarity about the regulation of adopting this solution inside Saudi Arabia. For example, apparently, a lot of these companies, they are doing it cloud-based solution. And Saudi Arabia and Sadaya, for example, they prohibit any cloud-based solution, even if you anonymize all the patient's data. So with that, so all patients' data supposed to remain inside the hospital. So that's complicate things a little bit more. These companies need to establish a server, a physical server, and support within the hospital setting, which we face difficulties. That's our experience in our center. I'm not sure if any one of you guys also face similar issue or not. And Dr. Hamza, do you know any update about whether there is a clear regulation in Saudi Arabia about utilizing these AI in the kingdom? Thank you.
Thank you very much. As you mentioned, yes, you are right. The use of cloud solution is not allowed by regulation. but there are some vendors that propose on-premises solution. But the problem of that is that you lose the retraining possibility. So whenever they have an update, they have to install it locally, so it's not as performant as the solution on the cloud. But some of them propose both methods.
Okay.
One issue is also in the regulation is related to the retraining of the models, because when you have an AI model, it's considered like as it is. It's approved by the regulator as it is. So if you want to retrain it, some of the regulation do not allow retraining of the AI models, and this is another problem also.
Okay, so any more questions? I don't see any.
I would encourage you to go download 3D Slicer, the application, and to try, this is for Prof. Yasser Bahadur,